how can we contribute to the kingdom of God, if everything is about keeping it poor? Or don't have the goals to succeed in life, right? Where even yesterday we were in the legacy team at church.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And it was awesome, right? But you see those business people that are saying, and even the message from the pastor, like, we need people that are successful so they can help the kingdom.
Welcome to the Faith and Business Unfiltered podcast, where we'll talk about business, entrepreneurship, faith, and the stigma around money in general. Today, we have the opportunity to sit down with a friend that is a man of faith, a father, a husband, and a serial entrepreneur. He's had businesses from poultry farms and ranches to IT companies, servicing elevator company, and even worked in ministry. So turn up the volume wherever you may be watching or listening to this and enjoy this conversation with Ethan Guerrero. If at any point you think, hey, so-and-so should listen to this, or you thought something was valuable, can you do me a favor? Share it and give it a thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe to our channel. All right, Ethan Guerrero, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for a great introduction.
Oh, man, you're the best. You're the man.
Thank you, brother.
You know what? I admire you. And I want to start off by saying this because we've known each other for a few years now. I want to say what, maybe 7 years?
Yeah, around there. Yes.
And one of the things that I've observed about you is how present you are with your family, in your kids' life, your wife. You're always with your wife. You guys are always traveling, by the way. That I'm a little jealous and envy of that.
Fortunate about that, yes.
Because I have 3 young kids, and we don't get to travel anymore, just to Disney World and like local. But something I notice about you is that you're always with your wife, you're always with family, and it makes me think, right? Because you're very involved also in our church. Mm-hmm. And to do this, being it that you're a serial entrepreneur, right? Is that correct? We're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
I mean, I know that you have businesses in IT, right? That's kind of like your strength.
That's my strength, yes.
You have businesses servicing elevators or waterproofing elevators, which is super interesting.
Yes.
I love business. I majored in business. So anytime I meet someone of business, I just like to know more about it. Mm-hmm. It's just, I'm very curious in that sense. I mean, the latest I found out was that you...
Partner.
Oh, you're a partner?
Yes, I mean, it's a partnership in where we have a trucking business.
Trucking, logistics.
Yeah, logistic dispatch business, yes.
But how about poultry, chicken farms, and cows? You're selling cows
That kind of closed it. We kind of closed that maybe a year ago, but we're staying within the manufacturing side of that. And then obviously we bought some herd. So
that's awesome.
We have like...
Is it good cows? Like Argentinian cows?
Better.
Oh, I don't know about that.
As a matter of fact, today we got offered to buy Argentinian cows, but we have like American Angus, so we'll see how that progresses.
Oh yeah, I like the American meat. It's softer.
Softer.
Argentina is a little bit tastier, but
yes, I think so. The American is a little softer. Yes.
So I don't know, American made, baby.
American made. Yes.
I was born in Argentina, full disclosure, but I was raised here. So anyways, let's get back to the question. And the reason why I admire you is because you're doing all this, yet you are so involved with your family. Mm-hmm. And from the outside, it's like, how do you do it? Like, how do you manage your business, your faith, family?
I will start by saying there has been a lot of sacrifices, right? On the offset, people see, like you said, I'm involved, I do this, but in the back end, like, ask my wife, the time that I haven't been there for the kids, so it's a balance, the time that maybe I've been late somewhere because I have to finish my work, my responsibility because I'm a business owner, especially in the IT side, been managing accounts for like the last 20 years and it has been the same accounts for this long. Wow. So yes, I'm able to balance, and sometimes you have to stretch the hours, not into a 24-hour day, but it's sometimes into a 26-hour day so you can flip the switch. Sometimes I can be talking to someone about running my computer business, and also I get a phone call, we're talking about cows, and I get on a phone call and I'm talking about oil, how to move that business over.
That's insane.
And I thank God that He has given me that ability that I can quickly change the switch, concentrate on the next task, otherwise I will be struggling, but thank God I've been able to do that,
Do you have to How do you disconnect?
Yeah, it's hard. I don't. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to disconnect.
Yeah.
Like I can sometimes I even try to go work out, and as soon as my morning starts, and I'm like in a
Phone's
treadmill,
ringing.
and I'm like, hold on a second, no, not even the phone. My mind starts going to like, oh my god, I forgot about that, and I have to call this guy, and so I start my workouts because I know that my day's gonna be so long if I don't, squeeze everything out of doing that day.
You know what's funny about all that is that from the outside, you look so composed.
Yes.
And I see you in church, and you're like, "How's this guy doing this?" But he's doing that too, and I know that because we have that relationship. Yeah. But in my mind, it's like, how do you compose? You have to disconnect sometimes. Like, what do you go on vacation or go to walk on the park? I heard that's good, but I started doing that.
You'll go to work.
Because I have, I'm not at your level, but
I don't think it's a level thing because, like I said, I'm involved primarily with my computer business. The other things, obviously, I am involved in the financial side, in the decision making, but not in the day-to-day stuff.
So operations.
So not on the operations at all. It will be way too much,
So you know how to delegate very well.
Oh yes. And depending on the business that I have, is the good partnership that I have with my partners, that they be able to pick up the load. And sometimes you don't get good partners, and then it starts good. And along the way, 2 years ago, we got a financial setback because someone that I trusted, I ended up doing bad things within the business. How do you find out? Because you start little by little finding out, well, why did they do that? And why did they do this? And all of a sudden you figure out that there's so many things that they put under the rug, and it was very hard for me emotionally, just to overcome that, that
because you feel betrayed.
I felt, yeah, especially because through COVID, like that person didn't miss a paycheck from me, it was constant paycheck, run the business, I'm here. And all of a sudden you find out that the person wasn't there, it's like they were doing dealings behind your back and they wanted more. And the moment that they said, what do you mean you want more? You want to steal more from me? I mean, when I found out what was happening.
It's crazy.
So yes, it was a hard time, and but one of the things I realized with my brother-in-law, that I do a lot of business with my brother-in-law, Carlos.
He's such a cool guy.
Yes, he is. Yeah,
I love his personality. Maybe we bring him to the.
Yeah, definitely. He'll laugh a lot. I can tell you, he'll laugh. He's not sweating. Cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But one of the things we learned through these experiences is like we like to help people. It doesn't matter to me, and by no means of a stretch of my imagination, I'm a wealthy guy or nothing like that, right? But I do have the ability to help people. And when they do that, just because somebody did me wrong, it's not going to stop us from helping the next guy. We're going to give the next person the ability to say, hey, I need $1,000, I need $5,000 to start a business. Well, here, you want a loan or you want to borrow it? How are we going to deal with this?
Crazy. That's crazy, right? Because when something like that happens, and especially when there's money involved, right? Because we work hard for our money. It's hard to come back, rebound from that, and say, you know what, I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to trust again. Yeah. Like you really got to guard your heart.
Yes.
Which it's funny you mentioned that because the Bible talks a lot about guarding your heart, and it's one of the biggest things that we can do. And as believers, the more so, I didn't even think about that till now. As a business guy,
yes,
my dad, he was always an entrepreneur. Like from very early on, he at the age of 16, he had like 8 employees in Argentina. And in one of my most recent businesses, I was thinking of partnering with someone, and he's like, "Be very careful."
Right.
He's been hurt by his partner, and I felt that he never rebounded back, and he did everything on his own.
Right.
And there's a saying that I like that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with people. And I think I'm assuming that's what you do to be a serial entrepreneur.
It is a balance, right? I mean, do I know that my next venture or the next time I invest with someone, the person is going to be 100%, legit or straightforward with all the dealings that they make? I don't know that, but I have to keep trusting in God that I prayed about the situation, I prayed the investment, and He's not every investments that we make are profitable. That's the nature of it. Sometimes you can read a good business plan, a good financial plan. You can ask all the questions that you want, and you invest and let somebody else run it. And sometimes you realize that that's not what it wasn't that easy, the proposal mentioned it,
Because theoretically, something might look perfect.
Of
it's like,
course,
it's going to work.
It happens all the time, Like, as I have someone who tells me, yes, I guarantee you for my kids' names, I want to do this. I'm like, so what happened? Well, we couldn't make the sale. So you end up like, what are you gonna do? You can't kill that. You can't kill that person. You know. You gotta
You watch
pray
Shark
about it.
Tank? You watch Shark
Once
Tank?
in a while. Once in a while.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
Because they
Once in a
talk about that all the time. They're like, we invest in the people.
Yes.
Because the business could be, hey, it could sound good on paper,
Correct.
but at the end of the day, like, you know, if the person is not, doesn't have the capacity or maybe I say the hunger really, because, you know, God says that he made us in his likeness, in the likeness of God.
Man, yes.
So we have God's creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So for 6 days in the beginning, right, he created for 6 days, and then on the seventh he rested. So it makes me think, because I'm kind of wired and kind of like you, right? Is I'm always thinking of the next thing and want to do multiple things. I think that's my creative side of things, and maybe the way I grew up with an entrepreneurial dad. But at some point, it's like, man, like I just want to rest my mind and just say, like, I can only focus on so many things.
I think one of the things that I do a lot is I drive the business for 2-3 months, then I take a vacation. Even if it's 4 days.
How long? 4 days?
4 days, 5 days. That's why I travel a lot with my wife, you know, because I try to do that, you know. Sometimes I work long
10,
hours.
10 days is too much, right?
10 days is too much. Yeah, I miss my bed. I don't know. I miss my house. I have to come back. What is it? You love going to vacation, but as soon as you get to the airport, like, man, I want to be in my house.
There's no place like home.
There's no place like home, you know. And
there was one vacation. I mean, there's been a couple vacations that we took that at the 10th day, like I wanted to stay, which was one was Hawaii. And I think the other one, I really like Puerto Rico too. But most vacations, I think 4 days is, because you got to get back.
yeah, see, just because of the nature of my business, as long as I have a laptop, I can work from anywhere. I mean, we have the pleasure of traveling to Hawaii, to New Zealand. You know, when we dropped off my son EJ in Australia.
Yeah, that was
and
cool.
then all of a sudden there was a ransomware attack on one of the servers in a school. You know, so even from there, I was working, and I was performing. So when I go to cruises, I get the internet package. You know, and I work.
no.
People don't even know that sometimes I'm out of town. You know, because
Oh, yeah.
I answer the phone and I'm there. I just not there, but I'm there. You know, so
well-
that's the reason why, you know, I've been able to keep my customers for so long, and I go for customers that have been with me for maybe 20 years. You know,
So 2 months.
every 2-3 months
You
I have
take a
to.
few- some- a few
Yes, I do that. Yes.
I feel like that's a good mix. One of the things I've been doing, and again, I'm not where you're at, but I go out, walk in the park, and the green light. This a doctor told me that because I had this little anxiety episode. I mean, I thought it was a heart issue, but it ended up being supposedly an anxiety, something with anxiety. And he told me, dude, go walk at a park, and the green light, when the sun reflects the sun rays reflect on the trees, it produces a green light, which kind of helps to relax you. So I've been doing that a little bit, and then get back home to 3 kids under 5. It gets a little hectic.
Those days are over for me. I guess you know, 30, 24, and 19. You know, so
Way
I
ahead.
don't have to worry about those kids, but
No changing diapers.
you know, changing diaper. Not even my granddaughter. That diaper here, you know, it's not mine.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I started walking in the mornings, you know, but work always has overtaken, you know, that, you know, the fact that I'm constantly thinking about what I'm going to do, and I have to be in front of a computer to send emails or whatever. But sometimes,
You know yourself, though. You know yourself, and you know when to. Hey, I gotta really.
Yeah,
take
I
it.
do. Don't get me wrong. I don't work 24 hours a day, but you know, I mean, I work.
You said 26, right?
Yeah, 26 sometimes. But I do pack my days with all the things, all the tasks that I have to do for the day. You know, to make sure that this business, and I have another business in Peru that we are constantly talking. Like, it doesn't stop. You know, try to make it work so that it grows. You know, but it grows in the right way, you know.
Yeah.
Coaching the guy, obviously, we've built a good relationship with a young kid. He's 32 years old over there. I call it a kid, but he's not a kid. You know, but it allows me not only to talk about business, but I share the gospel with everyone too, you know.
That's awesome.
I pray with them, you know, if some things are going crazy financially, what have you, I'm like, okay, we're going to stop. We're going to pray. Everybody like respects, because they come from different backgrounds, you know. Some of them in South America, they are Catholics. You know,
Oh, yeah.
and they
Yeah,
don't
they-
pray. Maybe they say Jesus, but they don't believe the same way I
They
do.
do
You know,
the-
yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I constantly, you know, okay, we're gonna stop. We're gonna pray. You know, and okay, let's trust in God. You know, so and then I start screaming about make sure you get your job done. You know, you know.
Do you think being a Christian or believing in God, reading the Bible, has helped you and your businesses? Do you
Oh,
think
most
that's been
definitely, most definitely. I can actually tell you right now that there was a time, hard times, more than 25 years ago in my life. Then I didn't know where the paycheck was going to come from, and I was worrying about that, And those times comes once in a while, but one time I actually prayed and I said, I told God, you know what, why am I worrying? You told me that not to worry. What am I supposed to do? Worry all
it's hard.
24/7, and the next day it is hard. It is hard, but when you have faith and you trust and you let that day go, but since that day, checks kept coming in based on the work that I produce, right?
Right.
So I kept my head up. I did things the right way, and God, it was. I say that what I've been able to accomplish is a byproduct of my faith.
Wow.
Having it just allow me to open businesses for that matter, and helping people along the way. Sometimes you don't get to make money. Like this past week, I helped somebody. His father was suffering from leukemia, so he couldn't maintain the business, and there wasn't not much money on a monthly basis. But I'm like, okay, I'll take it over. He didn't have the money. I'm gonna make you a 50% partner within having the money, and I'm gonna help you. When you make the money out of the investment, you pay me back, so you can be 50% owners. So I don't think I can stop doing that.
Wow.
Just helping out, because sometimes it's not just everything is about making money.
Right.
Sometimes, because some people may think, oh, I have to go to a business deal to make $5,000 a month, 20,000, 30,000, what have you. But sometimes it's about helping somebody else, and sometimes we have to do that. Some businesses are not going to be profitable the way we see it, but it's going to help somebody else. Especially in South American countries, that they can actually see that, and then with just $1,000, they maintain their their living. So I was blessed that I was able to help out.
That's awesome.
So with somebody else.
You were a youth pastor in the past, right?
For 8 years, I was a youth pastor.
8 years.
8 years, yeah. That's how I got.
Like
that's
full-time youth pastor, or you were working?
No, I worked. That was. Yeah, I was 8 times. It was an 8 time full time, but at night, or whenever someone needed me, I stopped working and I will talk to the youth. And
You've always been self-employed
since
for the most part.
Yeah, for the last 25 years. Yes, I've
Okay,
been
so
self-employed.
that's one of the advantages too.
Yes.
Be self-employed. You can kind of, know what you have to do
Correct.
and what you want to do.
Yes, my pace, right? If I want my business to grow, I gotta go look for more customers. If I'm happy with the income, then I'll get. So, for the last 20 years, I say I've been blessed that my customers grew and I grew with them. But like a month ago, I got notice that a capital company bought this business. So now there's another IT company taking that business away from me.
Wow.
For the past 20 years, I've been with this customer. I telling my wife, for the last 20 years, I'm concentrating 24/7 on this customer. So the day will come soon that it's going to be like no more
That's it.
worried about that. So I have to worry about something else.
We got to find the next guy.
But within that, I think that God put in me the vision of opening other businesses. Maybe because this time was going to come.
Wow.
Right? Because
So you've been doing it. Yeah, you've been doing it for.
I've been doing it for the last 6-7 years. Even the oil company we opened almost 9 years ago with my brother-in-law.
It's been that long.
It's been that long, yes. It was when he got married. It was a trip to Peru that I invited him, and then in my grandmother's house we talk about, hey, I have an idea about elevators. I'm like, okay, well, I'll invest it, and we started, and it took 2 years to pick it up from the ground, and now we employ 38 people. We're we're growing. We've done a lot of elevators in South Florida. We do a lot of services, but it was for some reason, obviously, maybe. Well, I don't say maybe. I know that God has prepared me for a time, because I might have some. I'm not gonna say financial struggles, but there's gonna be some times I'm gonna have to say, well, I'm not getting the same income that I used to get for the last 20 years.
Right.
So,
and also your energy level.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
As you get older, you got to prepare
exactly
retirement. But people like you and I don't think will ever retire, because
my wife
like
telling me,
what
I'm
we do.
I have to be involved in something. I don't think I'll be able to sit down and just say, send me some checks.
What's funny? I was thinking before we were going to have this conversation, I was thinking a lot about it. And, even in this interview process, like for me to prepare to interview you, I was thinking about myself. And sometimes I'm like, man, just how to turn off that, like that chip that's in your mind of always wanting to do more and why. And I actually confessed it to a friend. I was like, dude, sometimes I feel like I feel guilty for it, wanting to do more. And it's not necessarily have more money. It's like, just do more. And he was like, dude, it's because you're a believer and God has put things in your, he made me realize. And he's not like a hardcore Christian, you would say, but he's a a Christian man. And he was telling me that's the desire God put in your heart. But the reason why I bring this up is because that brings me to the next question is what excites you about business? And as I was writing that question down, I remembered me like in middle school. Like we would have these, they were called the motivator.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't behave in class or if you talked out loud, you did something you weren't supposed to do or late, they would make you write this motivator. It was a one pager where you have to, like, it would talk about values and why you should do good, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And, I've had to do a few, but the reason why I say this is because I used to sell them. I didn't pay attention to class that much. I would have, now they call it attention deficit disorder. I have a little bit of that. I could probably pay attention for 20 minutes and after that you lost me. So those meetings are like 30, they're way too long. For me, it's like 20 minutes. But when I got bored, I would just write these out and I would sell them. And one day I came home with like $20. For me, that was a lot of money, in middle school. And I remember that was exciting. When you work on something, produce something out of nothing and get to sell it and be compensated for that.
Right.
Like, so my question to you is like, what excites you about business and like why are you doing this?
I think that
And it's okay to say, I want to be wealthy. Remember, this podcast, the name is Faith and Business Unfiltered.
Sure.
So, because sometimes the reason why I say that is because sometimes when we touch on the subject of money, people are like, they're talking about money and faith, but I think it's important to talk about it. Because the enemy,
most definitely, yes.
The enemy wants us to be poor, because when you're poor, you're limited in resources, you're limited to the people you can help. So, anyways, I'll let you.
No, I think that obviously everything it has a balance, right? But if I look at what the blessings that the business can bring me, obviously I'll be able to support my family and help others, along the way, and it's not too much that you help others all the time, but at least it's an avenue that we have, because how can we contribute to the kingdom of God, if everything is about keeping it poor or don't have the goals to succeed in life, right? Where even yesterday we were in the legacy team at church.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And it was awesome, right? But you see those business people that are saying, and even the message from the pastor, like, we need people that are successful so they can help the kingdom, and that mentality has to be there. Obviously, if not, some people, I remember my uncle years ago, he used to tell me, well, if people have money, they're supposed to give it to the poor. The Bible says give it to the poor. Well, if you give everything to the poor, how do you generate more?
Yeah, even Jesus said it, they will always be among you.
Exactly, yes.
Or in the parable about the talents, where he took from the one that had one and gave it to the one that had 10 because he was going to produce more.
So you can't make all the money just to say, I'm going to have it, or it's going to be the top that I have, but along the way, you realize that what God is giving you is a blessing.
Yeah.
And that's how I balance the way that, how God blesses me in this business, or maybe he closes another business. Maybe because like I said, this business that I entered in Peru when things weren't bad, I'll tell you what happened. When the business started, or I think it was the beginning of 2020, the end of 2020, no, I'm sorry, 2022, December 2022, we got a call from a friend of ours, and she says, we've been praying for your business in Peru, and God told me 3 times in 3 different dreams for you to stop drinking, right?
Wow.
So you're drinking alcohol, right? Okay. And I just told me, I'm a wine drinker. Once in a while, I'll drink some wine, right? So I'm like, okay, it didn't take me long for me to say, okay, I'm in this, but I had to be there with my wife. I had to do it together because it's hard for a couple to. So we decided, you know what, for this blessing that this God gave her, we're gonna fast for the whole year, right? And brother, it was one of my hardest years in my life.
Wow.
But But it was my hardest year until the moment happened. It was my personal
Hard financially or
or
hard,
as a betrayed, as a spiritual, in where I felt like
there was some tension?
there was a lot of tension because obviously you don't like when people do you wrong, especially in business, or someone that you trust, right? So, and to me it was like, my goodness, I trusted this person. This is what they did, and all this time, and I thank God, right? Because I wasn't even touching alcohol at all, and I was like, imagine if I would have been. I would have maybe reacted different, Don't get me wrong. Maybe I didn't react nice to begin with because I really wanted some payback for what this guy did to me.
Right.
It was really bad, right? But through prayer, through Juan at church, people were praying for me, and I was crying at church.
Wow.
Like, I was truly suffering because I wanted to do some hurt to this person, but my heart was saying one thing, and my mind was saying another, and my mouth was saying another, until I had to say, you know what, and it all stopped when I realized that I had to say, in this house, spirit rules. And I truly had to say to myself, and that's when my process started of changing. Hold on, I'm not gonna speak it. I'm not gonna think it.
Wow.
I'm gonna let my spirit rule through the situation. And so it was a bad year until that thing happened. It was a period of me rebuilding my faith and getting back to God.
Yeah.
Not that I was far, but it was like emotionally, it was hurtful, and to ended up being that I ended up finding my new partner in Peru. And now we're successfully building something very healthy, and new businesses. And we opened a restaurant, even though it closed, this was a year and a half ago. But,
Yeah.
We built very good relationship out of a year that, started good. In the middle was one of my worst in my life, but God restored it towards the end,
It's
So
mind-blowing.
everything came from, just believing what the message God had for me for that year,
That reminds me of that verse that says that for God, one day is 1,000 days or years.
Yeah, it's 1,000 years.
And then, or 1,000 years could be one day for God. Well, he could restore. I just recently, not recently, but I think it was 2022. I made an investment, $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up being one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Just this a week ago or 2 weeks ago, they ended up convicting this lady and her people. She got 20 years.
Wow. Yeah.
In that business, there was multiple Christian people, and that's how I got in. Long story short, when someone messes with a child of God,
Yeah.
ay chichi.
Yeah, you have to be careful, And what happened in situations like that? Because I've been caught in those situations before, and when you walk in with good intentions, especially when spiritual Christians come to you and tells you, "Hey, let's invest," because, like, when you find something good, you want to share it. You don't share it because you want to steal their money. You share it because you feel that, hey, and all of a sudden you are responsible. You feel responsible. Or the person who got you involved, someone feels like, man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this, but what are you gonna do? Sometimes, out of good intention, something bad happens.
Yeah, it happened to him. He had more money in there.
Yeah.
There's people with a lot more money.
Yeah.
It actually, for that investment, it took me 9 months to actually
see
commit.
something. Yeah.
Oh no, to
do
do it.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't do it until, I was like, after seeing that he's done it for this long, I was like, man, I could have made this much money. But it is what we live and learn.
Right.
Like it wasn't the only one. There's a verse that I had here. Prepare that in 1 Timothy 6:10 that says, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs." And one of the things I admire you going back to the beginning is your faith. You're always serving in church, and a man as busy as you. How many businesses do you have your hands on?
Right now, maybe 4 or 5, right?
4 or 5. So you have your hands on all these, but yet I see you on Sundays. Legacy. You're involved. You're very involved.
Yeah.
Everyone knows your name at the church. The youth. You're very involved with the youth. You have one of the coolest houses, and you have all the youth. Now they started this coffee thing.
Blessing. Yes, it's coffee Saturdays. I guess once a month in my house.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yes.
Once a month. Okay, that's not bad. But it's really cool how you're still involved. Like sometimes a businessman of your caliber would probably think, "Oh man, I don't have time for this," but yet you are firm in this, and I'm sure you have your reasons why. And so I could see your heart. Like you're not a person of just talk. Like you're
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
the talk, and
I think it in that sense is like I've excuse me. I find myself grounded when I'm more involved with church. Like
grounded in one, like at home, or you feel like,
grounded in my faith.
oh, gotcha.
Like because I was a youth pastor for 8 years, and I don't want to says like I know Bible, but I know faith. I know that hey, when hard times coming into my life, I don't run away. Even if it's about forgiving, yes, there's a period that maybe I didn't realize that it took me two months to grieve on my problem before, but I never lost my faith. I was trusting in God, even to the point that during that situation, one day I was in my backyard breaking a deck because I was flying to Peru that afternoon, and I had this thing in my heart that constantly I was thinking about the problem and what I was going to do to this person. I'm thinking, and it wasn't like it was to the point that I was whacking the wood, and I stopped,
Wow.
and I hit him with my headphones, and I said, "God, take this anger away from me."
Wow.
It was really angry in my heart because this person was the damage, and then I'm like, don't take it away in 10 minutes, not even 5 minutes, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs in my backyard by myself. Take it
You have
away
a
now.
big backyard.
Yeah, I don't have a big backyard, but I'm screaming. And as I'm walking, I'm taking this wood out to the dumpster. I passed my fence, and God said, bury it.
Wow.
But in a healthy way, right? It wasn't, and I heard the voice says, bury it in a healthy way, and that's my process of
Healing.
Of healing. So yes, you can be in the faith, but I realized you can be in the faith for so long until it's tested. And my faith got tested. So I didn't. It wasn't overnight. There's other situation in my life in where I have to forgive someone overnight over something that happened. But that was, I saw it as a practice what you preach moment, So I couldn't I couldn't be like you said, involved with church, helping the youth and all that if I wasn't practicing what I was preaching. And preaching was forgiveness. Preaching was, hey, if somebody does to pray about it, don't let the sun go down on it, So how can we claim that if we don't practice it? So when the hard times came, the situation that took me a little longer, the situations that are forgiving overnight, but I'll make a balance of what, like I said, and I love to, as an example, like my wife and I, we love to go to, not I wouldn't say retreats, but conferences.
Oh yeah, man, I love you brought that up.
Hilson used to put conferences every year, and I took
healthy.
And I took my kids to every conference. We went to New York, California.
Okay.
We would Sydney, Georgia. We follow Hillsong, Jesus culture back in the day.
You're like a professional at this.
Yeah, well, I think that it was a boost of energy in my spiritual life because I went there worshiping. I would pour word into my life, So we walked out of those 3-4 days, re-energized. Not that we need it. Don't get me wrong. Some people misinterpret that. We don't need those moments, but they were good moments, And I was able to do that with my family. I would take all my kids, and even if they like church or not, I'm like, you're coming, And look at them now, But my daughter is in SEU, studying Christian University. My son is involved at church, and my oldest son now is one of the leaders,
Is he?
Yes,
I didn't know that. Wow,
yes, he's one of these in the young adults, through many trials and tribulations, but now he's here, So it wasn't easy.
Hey,
but
I had a
works in his
pastor of
time,
mine. I had a pastor of mine that would say, everyone sees the castles, but they don't see the battles. And with the kids, I mean, we could have a whole nother episode on kids, on how to kind of like raise them, right? And I know it's difficult because we have these fingerprints, right? And we're all different, and every kid is different. I'm seeing that
every kid is different.
My 5-year-old is so different from my 3-year-old, and then the 1-year-old, we're still, he's still too little to kind of figure him out.
You don't have it as hard because you don't have daughters.
Yes,
so
I pray for that.
It does change when you have a daughter.
I kid with my wife because growing up, I was like, I grew up with 2 sisters and my mom, right? 3 women in the house and three men, and I just felt like the women were more complicated. And obviously we can live with them and can't live without, or what. I love my wife to death, but I always prayed. I was like, man, I just want boys.
Yeah.
And I kid with my wife because I'm like, God loved me more than her, because she wanted to have a girl. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I had a girl, but I can't imagine.
I told my boys, I love you all, but Leanne is my favorite.
That's funny.
Just because Leanne is so joyful. Not all of my kids are joyful, but Leanne is like a mini me.
Is she?
You know, she has her attitude, the way that she is spoken, you know, and outgoing. Sometimes good face, sometimes bad face, but she's like
Yeah.
me, you know. So
That's
sometimes we
awesome.
clash too, you know, because
Yeah.
she's like me. So sometimes I can be hard headed, in you know, when I want to be, I guess, you know.
But
So
hey, where
you know,
there's people involved, there's always going to be friction.
hey man,
Obviously, we,
yes,
we have it in every family. But just to wrap things up, I have maybe one or two more questions. But I know I don't know who's going to be watching this, and this is going to be recorded now, but it's going to be played for a while.
man.
And it might be one or two people, whoever may hear this, that says, you know what, I'm Christian, but and I have this in my heart to want to be wealthy or want to make money or want to produce something, have a business, and maybe they're on the verge and they're like, I don't want to be materialistic, and maybe they're not being materialistic. But what would you tell that person that kind of wants that for his life, for his family? What would you tell them? Because you're in it right now.
I think that it's important to know why we're doing things. Foremost, you know, not every Christian, that are devoted Christian, maybe more than us, are going to be successful at the business. So it's okay to fail. Sometimes not all the businesses go well, you know, but sometimes you need to realize that that path wasn't the right time. It was maybe the wrong partner. We don't stop from trying to succeed in life, you know, but maybe that wasn't the right time for whatever you were doing. So either you know how to get up and try it again, you know, with maybe another venture, or God did bless you. Not He's not going to bless you in the first one, but there's so many things happening. You know, it could be a business loan, it could be a permit, something that can mess up a business. So it doesn't necessarily have to be from a personal perspective. It could be from just COVID shut down a lot of businesses.
Oh yeah,
You know, so it could be a Christian guy that was successful and COVID put you down. You know.
yeah.
Can't blame that thing on God, you know. So the only thing you can do is the fact that God will give you the ability to maybe start something new, and then and just trust God that, you know, whatever new vision that He put in your heart, you know, you're gonna run with it, you know.
So you would tell that person, hey, do it.
Most definitely,
Yeah,
I will not shy away from, even if you fail, you know. Not all the businesses are successful, but if you fail, you learn more when you fail, because out of that situation, especially that I went through, now I can judge people a little different. You know, I can see what, you know, because
you can read them. You can.
I can read, exactly. I can read them, because not every situation is gonna be the same and the same business, but you learn along, you know, along the way. You know.
Yeah.
So, can I tell somebody to stop trying? I don't think so. You know, but the money doesn't justify. I don't think that the making money is good, is what every business owner wants to do, to provide for their own and for the employees, to make sure everybody's okay. But the vision has to be in God, you know. So if you have a good center business, then that business is able to help a youth ministry somehow, you know, a blessing here, a blessing there, or other things that no one knows how you're blessing, you know. There's things that we do, and I don't have to tell anybody that I'm doing, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that's a cool thing about having a business, you know.
Yeah.
God is blessing you on the way.
No, I mean, you could. I don't think you could. We could have said that better. Any final thoughts about business, money, faith? Well,
it's I think it's way more than what we spoke about here too. You know, first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity. You know, to have me here.
It was a pleasure.
We're starting. I know that you're starting this. Hopefully,
Yes,
it's the first time. You know, so for both of us,
it's very new,
very new. But I think that as a learning curve is just trust God with the things that we do, and the outcome, leave it to Him. You know, sometimes what do I mean? Yes, we want success. We want to provide. If it doesn't go well, regroup, pray about it. You know, maybe get an assessment. Maybe close a business and open up another one. You know, maybe need to time to heal of something, if something bad happened in the business. You know, but like you said, when you have that drive of doing business, you're not going to work 8x7 with somebody else. You're constantly going to try to push and try to do something new, you know, and eventually, as long as you're doing something, it doesn't have to be huge profitable.
Right.
But as long as you're doing something, it makes you feel good that you're helping, right? And happier, right? Yeah. And you're helping the kingdom of God, then, you know, that's what matters.
Because I think a lot of it is that, right? Being in the pursuit of something is what brings happiness.
Yeah.
Right. And it goes beyond that. We can be happy when we eat a piece of steak, but sometimes people are in a 9-to-5 job and they're unhappy.
Yes.
And yet they have that one thing. Maybe stay with the 9-to-5 job, but we got to do something about it. And with God's help, we can move forward.
Yeah. I think yes. To finish, I think you made a good point. As a Christian, sometimes we hold our wallets too tight.
Oof.
You know, and I'm not gonna say that I help everybody, but when you can and you see, like yesterday we're just leaving the Dolphin
As
game.
a Christian and non-Christian.
Yeah, as a Christian and non-Christian, right? On Sunday we walked early out of the Dolphin game.
Yeah.
At the end of the third quarter because they were playing really bad, right? So I told my kids, let's go eat. Okay, they ended up winning, but we walked out. But I saw this black man with his daughter selling books.
Wow.
You know, he's trying to sell books, and one of the books says, I think it's Stay in Your Faith, I believe the name of the book was. Something in the faith. So I asked him, what is the book about? So he tells them about the book, but I saw the daughter being there with the father, you know? So I opened up my wallet and I gave him money, and the guy looked at me for a book, and the guy looked at me, I'm like, seriously? I'm like, God bless you, brother, you know? So I did it more for the daughter that was supporting the dad in a situation like this.
Look at
To make her feel like her dad was doing something successful. So it was not for my blessing, but to pass the blessing for that. But I recognized it right away, and I had my two sons with me.
That's amazing.
And they saw that, and I'm like, and I hope that in one day they'll do the same thing.
Oh,
you
they
know?
will. Leading by example.
See, exactly, leading by example, right? Because we can talk about it, but we don't do nothing about it, you know. And I try to show my kids that we can do that, you know.
One of my favorite verses in the Bible is that God gives seed to the sower.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're giving,
The pastor said that yesterday.
that's right. Yeah, he did. If we're giving,
Yes.
God is going to give you back, so you can keep giving. And you know, we could talk about this forever because we love this.
Yes, he said what he says: seed for the sower, not seed for the keeper.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was Pastor Lee Domain. Huh?
Yeah.
He's a beast of a guy, and maybe we'll have him on the show.
Yeah,
one day.
well, maybe one day, man. You know.
But dude, thank you so much for being here.
Much
I know your
appreciated.
time is very valuable, and I appreciate you as a person. I love hanging out with you.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you for this, and hopefully we could do more of it, and we'll bring you back.
Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. God bless you all.
God bless you, bro.
Yeah, brother.